Our country's in trouble. I think we all know that. There's a new book coming out, 81 Million Votes Later. We've got the author of that book that's going to be talking to us today. Before we introduce her up, I want to ask you to like this video, share it out with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Head on over to Our Watch, subscribe at ourwatch.com, become one of our watchmen. We'd really appreciate that. We want to get good, true, correct information into your life. So if you would, again, ourwatch.com, subscribe. Love to have you as one of our team members. That being said, we've got on the program today, we've got Becky Grosskreutz with us. We want to thank you so much for joining us today, Becky.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I'm looking for, I haven't read your book yet. I'm looking for it. I see it's available for pre-order right now, but I watched the video about your book. That video is hilarious and scary at the same time.
Yes, it is. And that was the point of it, to create a little lightness to something that's pretty heavy.
It is very heavy. If you would, just before we talk about the book, talk to us about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm a mom of twins, 15-year-old twins. I'm married, live in Pennsylvania, and I currently work from home and do different volunteer activities, activism. And I'm also the chapter chair for Moms for Liberty here in my county.
Awesome. What a great organization that is. What got you interested in all of this?
Well, I'm one of those weird people. I've always been interested in politics since I was younger. I don't think it really I got as interested until I got a little older, in my 20s. And then, I think as with everyone else, once COVID came, that was really the height of everything. And I just really, one thing that's always bothered me is when you see elected officials take a really important and serious position and then use it for greed or manipulation. All that just really bothers me. So seeing that over the years, and just with what my kids went through during COVID, and my dad, who was in a dementia unit, all of that just really bothered me. So I just have been wanting to do more and more the older I got. And I was able to work on the race for governor here in Pennsylvania with Doug Mastriano. I was on his leadership team, and saw a lot of things that happen behind the scenes with politics, especially, from the other side. So I just think we're on a spot right now where we just really need to do whatever we can to help save our country.
Yeah, for sure. Now, your book that's coming out, 81 Million Votes Later, talk to us about the book. What's in it?
Well, it's almost 100 different sayings and situations from Joe Biden. And, even though I'm considered the author of the book, it's really, Joe basically wrote this himself. All I did was compile all of these different situations and events that have happened over the years, even before he was elected president, put them together in one spot. And it goes through lots of different things that he said and done. And then there's there's a QR code in the book where you can use your phone and fact check. Everything in the book is just very factual, and there's no denying what happened. So it kind of goes through different moments like that. And then there's a section in the book where I have pictures where you can see the true difference. They say, picture is worth 1,000 words. And if you look at the difference between Trump as president and then Joe Biden, and you can see the stark difference in different things. I try to use the visual ways to show, the difference in leadership there. And at the end, there's just a lot of little fun things in it to get people interested and hopefully talking about what's going on right now with our country.
So what was your purpose in writing this book?
Well, I kind of alluded to it earlier. I'm one of these people, I like to deal with stress with humor a lot of times. And I think we can all agree right now in the country, it's just so bad right now. And it's so heavy, all the things that we see happening and going on. And, I dedicated the book to all the hardworking men and women in the country, because I think especially of families right now and where we are with inflation and just the state of society, it's just really overwhelming and heavy. And parents are working, 1, 2 jobs. Both parents, moms and dads, have to work. And even then they're having trouble making ends meet. And it makes life really stressful. And so people don't really want to read or talk about politics because it's extra stress, even though that is probably one of the most important things people should be talking about right now and thinking about. So the reason I created it was just to kind of interest people, to have a book that would interest them. It would be short, to the point, facts, add a little humor, even though the underlying, point is that it is serious. And then ultimately, the basis of the book is to really get people to go out and vote in November. Even if you think, there are issues with the system, we saw what happened in 2020. We can't just sit back and we can't just stay home. So really, it's just to create a little lightness, to start discussions, get people to get out and vote, and use your own gifts to help in a way that you can help.
I was watching, like I said, I was watching the video promo for your book, and though some of those, it seems like a highlight reel for sure. And I think I could pick out my favorite gaffe from the president. If you could pick out yours, what would be your favorite one?
All right. Well, there's one in the book that when I first read about it, I hadn't heard about it on the news. And it was one that just made me laugh out loud and shake my head at the same time. And it was in 2008, and Joe was speaking at a campaign stop, and there were a lot of politicians in the audience, and he's speaking to a lot of people, and he wanted to thank Senator Chuck Graham. And he says, "Hey, Chuck, stand up, let them see ya." And he wanted him to stand up so they could applaud for him. So he's looking around, and when he looks, he sees that Chuck's in a wheelchair because Chuck has been paraplegic since the age of 16. And then he says, "Oh man, what am I thinking?" And he has the crowd stand up. So it was just one of those moments. I don't know if you've ever watched The Office with Michael Scott, where, he says all these awful things and politically incorrect things. And, it's kind of like now where we're at, we have someone like Michael Scott as a president in the most powerful position in the country. So that was probably one that I just was like, oh man, and people still voted for him, which amazes me. And then I think a second favorite would probably be, this one's not quite as humorous, but when President Biden basically called parents domestic terrorists for speaking up at board meetings for their children. That's probably my second favorite because that, hits close to my heart with my background in education and all of that.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, there's plenty of gaffes when it comes to that president. Your book is going to be revealing a lot of those. I really look forward to reading it. How can people get the book on pre-order right now?
You can pre-order. You can go to the website. It's 81 million votes later. .com, and you can pre-order there, and then officially it should be out on March 7th, and you should be able to get it on Amazon then. So those are two ways, and then you can find me on Twitter, 81 mill MILL votes later LTR. That's the Twitter one, and then TikTok is 81 million votes later spelled out.
All right. Well, Becky Grosskreutz, thank you so much for what you're doing. Really look forward to reading your book. And I also want to thank everybody for tuning in online today. Really want to ask you again, like this video, share it out with your friends and your neighbors, your family members. Go and get a copy of her book, and also head on over to ourwatch.com. Subscribe there and become one of our watchmen. We'd really appreciate it. That's all we have for right now. We'll see you next time right here on Our Watch with Tim Thompson.